Nerves, like blood vessels, like muscles, skeletal muscles, are actually organs. So these are organs. Why are they considered to be organs? Because they have more than one type of tissue. So they contain more than one type of tissue. So, like the skeletal muscles, they actually have connective tissue surrounding them, and they actually have blood vessels that supply nutrients and oxygen to the tissue. So, let's look at a structure of a nerve. So, in this diagram, we see a large spinal nerve. We can see the epineurium, with that would be connective tissue that surrounds that surrounds the whole nerve. And it is white in color because it's connective tissue. And then you can see that there's also blood vessels in the nerve as well. So if we look at the cross section, we can see that a nerve is really just a bundle of myelinated axons. So this is the axon right here, and this is the myelin sheath that is, in this particular instance, composed of Schwann cells. So when we look at our nerves, they are essentially bundles of myelinated axons. And when we're talking about motor neurons, their cell bodies reside, for example, in the spinal cord or in the brain. But we can also have cell bodies outside of the central nervous system, and then they are called ganglia. So I'm going to put that in parentheses. Is that the cell bodies can be in the CNS or in ganglia of the peripheral nervous system, the PNS. Okay, so we have nerves that contain both motor and sensory. So for example, the spinal nerves. So we have, coming off of the spinal cord, we have these spinal nerves, and then the nerves branch into smaller and smaller nerves, and then they sometimes come back together and form what are called nerve plexuses. So this it's kind of an extravagant structure, this internetwork of nerves in our body. We have spinal nerves. So the example would be spinal nerves. An example of a nerve that I'm sure you have heard of is the large sciatic nerve. So it is actually a branch off of the spinal nerves. We also have cranial nerves. So these are the cranial nerves. And instead of coming off of the spinal cord, these come off of the brain. Hence cranium. And these cranial nerves include, for example, nerves that innervate and control your facial muscles and the ability to sense touch on your face. They also give you sensation in your teeth. So that pain reception in your teeth is due to nerves. They also go to your eyes and to your cochlea in your inner ear. And so there's lots of innervation of these structures on our face, and most of those have to do with these cranial nerves. So the facial nerve is kind of interesting because the facial nerve is known to cause, or irritation of it is known to cause, a thing that's referred to as Bell's palsy. And this has to do with inflammation in this nerve that can then lead to kind of paralysis of the facial muscles on one side of the face. Now, another thing that could cause that is a stroke. So this Bell's palsy, and let me make sure I spelled that right. The Bell's palsy is reversible. So oftentimes people have this and they feel really bad about it because they look strange. I did spell that right. They look strange because of it, but the generally over time the facial nerve will repair itself and function will occur. Sometimes there might be a little bit of asymmetry in the face, but there are some rehabilitation exercises that people do to try to gain function back with the Bell's palsy. Now, there is one nerve that that's very interesting, that is a cranial nerve, and that is called the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is a cranial nerve that extends down below the shoulders, and it innervates your heart and your digestive system and a bunch of other organs below the head region. So it is a cranial nerve, and the reason why it's called vagus is it's a vagabond, so it travels down. It's that is very important in regulating the heart, breathing, digestion, etc. So that vagus nerve stimulates digestive processes, and it actually slows the heart down. So sometimes you might have heard of vagal nerve stimulation. So it actually is we're going to talk about this, but it's the parasympathetic. It's the rest and relaxation nerve in your body. So this vagus nerve plays a really important role in regulating autonomic, unconscious function of the organs in your body.